Guys and greetings, in this video we are going to see about the author Alice Walker, her literary and critical reviews of her novel Possessing the Secret of Joy and about female genital mutilation. Alice Walker's full name was Alice Malsinia Chalula Haight Walker. She was born in 1944. She was the first African American woman to win the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1982. She was awarded for her novel The Color Purple. Her journal was African American Literature. Her notable work was The Color Purple. She received the notable awards like Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1983, National Book Award in 1983. Her first collection of poetry was Once, wrote in 1965 and published in 1968. Her personal life incidents like abortion and suicidal thoughts inspired much of her poetry in Once. Her first novel was The Third Life of Grange Copeland, published in 1917. Her novel The Color Purple was published in 1982. It was about a young troubled black woman fighting her way through not just racist white culture but patriarchal black culture as well. It was adapted to film and musical. It became movie in 1985. Womanism was Walker's specific brand of feminism. It was a social theory. It was an advocacy of women of color. Walker coined the term womanist in her collection In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, which meant a black feminist or feminist of color. Walker stated that womanism gives us a word of our own. In 1985, womanism as a movement came into fruition. The documentary film Beauty in Truth was published in 2013. It was about the autobiography of Walker, directed by Pratibha Palmer. Then, The Possessing the Secret of Joy was published in 1992. It was the story of Tashi, an African woman, and a minor character in Walker's earlier novel, The Color Purple. It sets in Olinga, Walker's fictional African nation where female genital mutilation was practiced. Adam Johnson, the son of Silly, black American, from The Color Purple was Tassy's husband. According to Walker, torture is not culture. She meant that torture is not a cultural issue, it's a human rights issue. Walker's first contact with the issue, FGM, was in Kenya, East Africa in 1966 during the filming for The Color Purple. FGM means female genital mutilation, comprised all procedures that involve partial or total removal of the external female genitalia. The famous quotes from Possessing the Secret of Joy were, "If you lie to yourself about your own pain, you will be killed by those who will claim you enjoyed it. The god of woman is autonomy." And then the protagonist Tassie attempted to preserve her tribal heritage by undergoing traditional FGM. It addressed female circumcision, colonization, gender oppression, and cultural identity. Tassie's depression was based on Walker's own depression. It was a part of trilogy. The other two novels were The Color Purple, The Temple of My Familiar. The Temple of My Familiar was published in 1989. The other work, Warrior Marks, Female Genitalia Mutilation and the Sexual Blinding of Women, was published in 1993. It was also about FGM. It was also made into documentary film. After her novel Possessing the Secret of Joy, she undertook a journey to parts of Africa where FGM was still in practice. She interviewed women who had FGM and also the circumciser. Today, more than 200 million girls and women had undergone FGM in 30 countries in Africa, the Middle East and Asia where FGM is practiced. So, Alice Walker totally wrote 2 books and a documentary film about FGM. And Frank E. Hoskin was the American designer, writer, feminist and social activist. She founded Women's International Network in 1975. She published the quarterly journal on women's health issues that became known particularly for its research into FGM. It was stated that she coined the term female genital mutilation and put the issue of FGM on the United Nations agenda. The report on FGM, the Hoskin Report, Genital and Sexual Mutilation of Females, was published in 1979. It's influential in persuading the international community, including the World Health Organization, to make efforts to end the practice FGM. She was considered as a pioneer in speaking up against the practice of FGM. In different countries, there are different punishments for FGM. There are imprisonment for life, imprisonment for few years, etc. And reviews about Possessing the Secret of Joy. The Newsweek described Possessing the Secret of Joy as a remarkable novel. Walker has pulled off an amazing feat here. She's written a powerful novel about brutal misogyny, and she's made it both horrifying and readable, angry and warm-hearted, political and human. In San Francisco Chronicle, it is said that as compelling as The Color Purple. In New York Daily News, it is said that remarkable superfiction. In Cosmopolitan, extraordinarily courageous and chilling. Walker's remarkable compassion rings on every page. These are the links where I referred about FGM and Alice Walker and Possessing the Secret of Joy. Thank you for listening. Thank you.